Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're now delighted to be joined over the telephone by our guest for the afternoon, Engineer Hassan Shabaan, the political analyst. It's a very good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon to you.
Thank you very much for joining us, sir, on today's edition of Cairo Local Time. And let me start by asking you, how do you see the recent developments with Donald Trump's announcement of a ceasefire between Iran and the Israelis?
Well, a lot of people are asking this question. I think both sides are exhausted. I mean, Israel and Iran, both sides is very much exhausted, and I think both sides would like to stop the damage to the infrastructure in both countries, actually.
Yes.
I think the acceptance of Iran, the invitation from the American president to stop fighting is a good sign, actually, itself, because Iran rejected all the time any dialogue with the Americans, because I think after the start of the war between Israel and Iran, one day right after the negotiations of the nuclear program of Iran was stopped, that actually created a lot of distrust and doubts in the American attitude. But I think it's about time for the U.S. to play a positive role. The U.S. is the leader of the world today, and I think President Trump ought to, and I think he knows that the U.S. is made of all the countries around the world. I mean, we are all represented one way or another in the U.S. We all have immigrants that actually left our countries and lived in the U.S. long time ago. And he should carry the responsibility of being fair. The U.S. will have to be fair to all the countries in the area. We all think that Iran should not really have a nuclear, arsenal, but also we think that the Israelis also should not have a nuclear armament, and it should work on both sides. The Middle East should actually be clear of nuclear armaments, and I think there is a lot of things that the U.S. should really reconsider. Everybody forgot about the real issue. Once the war started between Israel and Iran, everybody forgot about the real case, the Palestinians. I mean, Gaza. This is the real issue. I think the U.S. have a big responsibility toward, settling all the problems in the Middle East in a fair way.
Absolutely, Engineer Hassan. As you said, the Palestinian cause and the current crisis on the Palestinian lands and the Palestinian territory is taking a backseat, even though attacks are still continuing up till today, where people are losing their lives on their way in search of food and sustenance amid the hunger or starvation crisis. How do you see, the Iranian ceasefire now with Israel? If it lasts and holds, will the light return back to the Palestinian cause and more international community talks about the situation in Palestine will resume?
Hopefully, I hope really that Iran will play a positive role. Iran always, defended the Palestinian cause and the Palestinians, and I think Iran will have to continue carrying this responsibility because of, unfortunately, the negative attitude of the neighboring countries to Palestine, actually. I think Iran, deserves gratitude and respect from all, the Arab countries, indeed Arab countries are not in a position to get involved in a war to settle the Palestinian cause, but I think President Trump is in a position to take the opportunity of the ceasefire and develop a new, very peaceful Middle East. I think he can do this. He's in good terms with the Gulf states. He's in good terms with North Africa, Arab countries. I think, he can actually persuade Israel to sit on the negotiation table and accept the idea of having a Palestinian state next to it.
Indeed. Now, Engineer Hassan, how do you see the move by Iran to strike U.S. bases in Iraq and Qatar in retaliation to the U.S. strikes of its 3 key nuclear sites a day earlier? Was this an expected move in your opinion?
Well, yes, I think it's expected because from what we've read, and I think this hit the press, I think Iran, warned the U.S. of the Iranian strike to Aidid base in Qatar before actually pursuing the attack. And this actually reduced the damage I think that actually encouraged President Trump to pursue the talks with Iran because Iran actually expressed good intention, and I think that was the beginning. The warning from Iran to the U.S. that they're going to hit you, and they actually made the right arrangements to take all the equipment from the base to another location. That was a beginning of a scenario that might lead to a peace treaty in the area.
Indeed. Now, following these strikes, Trump also suggested that the U.S. desires to tramp down on the tensions with Iran, avoid getting embroiled in the Middle East war, and this has repercussions for the whole region as a whole. How do you see this, Engineer Hassan?
Well, I think President Trump is actually playing business again. I think he thinks that enough is enough. This amount of violence in the area was a relief for both sides.
Yes.
The Israelis and the Iranians, they expressed their anger toward one another. And I think the U.S. will play a different role from now on.
Absolutely.
Hopefully it will lead in the end to convince the Israelis that having a Palestinian state next to it will be the solution to have a peaceful Middle East.
Indeed. On that note, I'd like to thank you very, very much, Engineer Hassan Shabaan, our political analyst and our guest for the afternoon. Thank you, sir, for your time. Ladies and gentlemen, a short break, and we'll be back to continue today's episode. Do stay tuned.